Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Before we get started, if you read the title, I am going to talk about things that I've learned while being my 23 years on earth, but because I know I talk about some sensitive things sometimes, trigger warning for like eating disorders, mental health, depression, anxiety, quarantine, depression, and like a lot of those things. Anything under the sun that could possibly trigger you or, just have you go into a really bad mental state. Possibly I could talk about here. I don't really know what I'm talking about yet. But yeah, my cat is under the bed, sorry. But yeah, if you are going to be super sensitive or like you are a very sensitive person, very open to things like that, I recommend you to not watch this video. You can watch any of my other videos, I promise. But yeah, I'm just gonna like do my makeup a little bit, talk about things that I've learned, and also have a drink. I'm drinking a vodka soda. Why not? This is for my ASMR baddies. This is for you. That's my I think third drink while being 24. Woo, alcoholism. Well, not really alcoholism. I don't want to be like my parents. Oh yeah, okay. So let's talk about things that I've learned or growing as a person, I guess, while being the beautiful tender age of 24. Okay, so I feel like just with Miss Corona happening and a lot of things that weren't planned to happen this year happened. I definitely feel like my mental health has been awful, which is always a given, seeing as I still tend to run away from my problems, which is something that I'm still learning to deal with because, not that I'm a coward, but recognizing your weakness is one way. Recognizing recognizing that you're not helping yourself as much as you could is a feat in itself, because you're realizing what you're doing is basically hurting yourself. You're committing acts of self-sabotage and things like that. So I guess being present of your negative coping skills, basically. Not everyone can do that. There are plenty of influencers online who are openly airing out their problems and issues with each other or issues with themselves and just putting it on their OnlyFans or their private Snapchat or their Finsta or to their followers, which is really unhealthy because granted, you want that support system. Everyone does, whether or not you are alone, online, offline. If you have lots of friends, you want to be able to have a support system to rely on. So I guess the first one would be recognizing unhealthy coping mechanisms. That's the first one. And then what to do about them. Recently I read a little excerpt on Tumblr that was called Running the Dishwasher Twice. It's by Anne something or Anna something. I'll pop it up right here. I'll link it below as well. Sometimes the problems that we deal with are very tiny, they're very minuscule compared to the bigger things, the grander scheme of things going on, right? Poverty, homelessness, racism, a lot of these issues are integrated into our society, and maybe because we, especially being as Americans, we're very prone to being self-centered. It's always about me. It's never about my friend, my coworker, my neighbor. It's always about my problems, my issues, me. I cannot fathom to think of anybody else. While I was browsing Instagram earlier, I came across a video, and it was by Sarah Tonin, Sara Tonin, TONIN.com, and it made me want to just cry. And I don't really want to cry on my birthday because every year since I've turned 18, I've had a annual breakdown about how I am an awful person, I'm unlovable, listing everything that's wrong with me, everything that's ever gone wrong with me, everything that has been wrong with me, and how I am a failure and I'm never going to amount to success and things like that. And it's a very unhealthy way of thinking. And so I was like, I still thought it. I was doing some dishes last night and I was like, I'm unlovable, my dishes have mold, I'm living in a messy, unhealthy environment, I'm never going to amount to XYZ, I'm never going to graduate, I'm never going to do things I'm going to do, so on and so forth, right? And I was like, and it's not that I was challenging it per se, I was more just over it, because it's exhausting to be so toxic to yourself. And that's what I guess I realized, is that I'm always running on E towards myself. I never give the kindness that I deserve to others. And I really don't want to tear up and I don't want to cry, but I might tear up a little bit because I'm always so awful towards myself. And and realizing it now, you know, as I said this in some other videos, is that when you talk about it, it's real. When you say it, it's real. And it's definitely a culmination of the things that I've gone through, the things I've experienced in college, and a lot of things have gone on in my life that I feel like I deserve to not be kind to myself. And I'm always giving kindness, and I'm always being cordial, and I'm always being courteous of others. But you know, what about me? Who excuse me, who takes care of the caretaker? You know, and I feel like Ruina Sai talks about this often as well, and I'll link her channel below because she has a lot of very good self-help videos that feel less self-helpy, because you know, there's a lot of those videos that feel very preachy. This may be an example of one that you know, preaching to the choir, or I feel like a lot of the things that I say and things those are the things that I say online. Do as I say, not as I do, because as you can see, I'm tearing up because I'm realizing after 24 years on this earth that I deserve kindness. I deserve to be nice to myself. I deserve to be loving. I deserve to do the things that I enjoy and not feel guilty about it. You know, if I want to watch VTuber clips for 3 hours, I'm gonna do it, and why not? You know, who is to tell me that that's wrong? You know, I don't have any adult figure looming over me saying that my hobbies are dumb. I don't have anyone actively, you know, hating on me online or actively saying that things that I love are stupid. You know, no one's saying that. It's me bullying myself for no reason. It's me not accepting who I am. And I feel like this year has also made me slightly more secure in my identity. So one, again, learning those toxic behaviors that you're doing towards yourself. Two, being kind to yourself and recognizing that regardless of you're working from home, you're working online, you do creative work, you're doing creative endeavors, you are doing what you do daily, you're working hard, and that's amazing. Whether or not you know you're making $1,000 or not, you know, you're still working on becoming a better you, and you're still working towards your success, whether it's long-term or short-term. And so I have to recognize that as well. So it's like congratulating ourselves for the small things, you know, being kind to ourselves when we don't always feel like we should be, you know. I feel like that's something that a lot of us have to learn. What else have I learned? Knowing when to ask for help. I feel like so often I think I can do it myself, and sometimes I can't. Sometimes I really can't. Sometimes it's really hard. It's really, really hard to recognize that you can't do everything on your own, because there was like this hyper independence post, and to some degree I believe I'll post it. I think I took a screenshot and I posted it somewhere. To some degree it is correct, you know, like we as people, again, like living in a self-centered society, especially if you are American, you're like, oh, I can pull myself up on my bootstraps, I can do it myself, I can do it myself. Well, that I can do it myself again leads to like, who's looking after you? You know, if you're not looking after you, who's looking after you? Because it's not to say that, oh, like you don't have that support system, it's the support system in place, but the support system should begin with you setting your own boundaries, you setting your own limits. And I feel like realizing what we can and we cannot do definitely is a part of realizing or knowing when to ask for help. Because so often we let ourselves drown in work, we let ourselves get to the burnout point, we don't realize when we need to ask for help because we're so close to that breaking point, or we're at that breaking point. And I feel like that's something that everyone needs to work on, because there's some people who are very, you know, they've grown up with a good family, they've grown up with X, Y, and Z resources, so they know when to ask for help, they know how to communicate properly. It's also, and then leading into my next point, communication is everything. Communication is key. Knowing when to send a double text, knowing when to ask, knowing when to, the next one as well after that, knowing when to say no. It's your like day off or whatever, and your coworker wants you to take their shift, and you don't really feel like it. You don't need to tell them an excuse. You don't need to tell them anything. Just say, hey, I'm sorry, I cannot. And boom. You know how to take that shift. You're good. You're golden. You're golden, pointy boy. Sorry, I'm trying to blend. I guess I'm trying to go for that, like, what is it called? The fox. I look kind of just like making a straight line, lifting the lashes and things like that. What else have I learned? So we talked about, oh yeah, communication. Communication is super important, you know, sending that email, looking at your emails, looking at your texts, sending the callbacks, spending the time to call the family members who have been worried about you, spending time talking to the friends who miss you and who are wondering how you're doing, but they're also busy, you know. Phones work two ways. I feel like so often we forget about that like, oh, so-and-so isn't talking to me, or so-and-so isn't reaching out to me, so I guess I'm just not going to reach out to them. Taking the initiative is also something that I've learned, that sometimes you just have to take the lead. Sometimes you just have to go for it. Sometimes you have to take the plunge. So taking the initiative is definitely something I feel like, it's not that, because there's a lot of people who are, you know, the type beta. There's a lot of people who are like the natural leader types, and there's also, granted, the same amount of people, if not more, who are not necessarily the follower type, but they're people who are looking for that guidance. So whether it's like work or like volunteering stuff, be that guiding force. Because like what's the worst thing that could happen, you know? Knowing and dealing with the actions of your consequences is also another one. So I know there's also this one meme that I really, really love, and it's like, me sowing, hell yeah, fuck yeah, me reaping, oh, what the fuck is this? A lot of the times we don't want to apologize, or we don't want to deal with a mess, or we don't want to fold the laundry. Eventually, it's gonna pile up, it's gonna fester, it's gonna get worse, and we have to deal with it, you know? We have to be the adult in the situation, or we have to be the bigger person, or we just have to do it. We have to say, I'm sorry. We have to start cleaning our room. We have to realize we maybe were wrong, and we maybe let our emotions get the best of us. I feel like my eyes are a little wonky. Are my eyes wonky? Those are some of the things I feel like I learned. Some of the things that I feel like are important and we tend to forget, or just like self-discovery type things, I suppose. Another thing I guess I kind of want to touch on is being in competition with no one. Just trying to be the best version of yourself. If you haven't noticed, I don't really talk about a lot of other influencers or other people as much as I used to, because it serves me no purpose to, I guess, kind of discuss their behavior or discuss or pretend to be nuanced about it, when it's like basically not necessarily attacking influence, but I guess it's kind of like realizing that the intent is misguided, or more so that a lot of the certain critique can be thinly veiled envy as well. And even though that may not be the intention, sometimes it comes off that way, because so often people's what are they called? People's followers are very peculiar and will sometimes go on the defensive when really you're just like noticing some shitty behavior that they possibly should be held accountable for. But again, it's like, what purpose does this serve? Like, why do I feel so passionate about what another influencer or what another person is doing? Like, how does this affect me in the grander scheme of things? And I guess the last thing would be learning to let go. Learning that some things we really just have to let bygones be bygones. And I know sometimes we hold on to that grudges. I know sometimes it's really hard to let the thing that really hurt you, or to let the thing that really messed you up, or to let something petty go, you know, because it's a part of being in no competition with no one else. If we want to be the best versions of ourselves, and we want to try to be as good as we can be, and we want to try to do good unto others, what purpose does it serve to hold on to things that may or may not have affected anyone else but you? Like, I don't want it to sound like it's like, oh, like we're being petty, we're the ones who's holding on to it with a grudge and things like that. Like it's not necessarily what I'm trying to say. It's more so like an issue that you may have held on to for so long that maybe no longer, maybe it's your drive, but now maybe it's time to move past it. Maybe it's time to say, you know what, it was a mistake, or to say, you know what, I was in the wrong, or to say, you know what, this person has me blocked, or this person isn't going to communicate with me or the way that I want them to communicate. Or, you have that false narrative that, oh, okay, they're going to respond with XYZ, and maybe they don't. Maybe they reply with ABC. Maybe it's a situation where there's no point in holding on anymore. So I feel like learning to let go, whether or not, if it's a person, place, or thing, or issue, or something that deeply affected you, sometimes you just have to let it go. And I realized that because I have a lot of things too that I hold on to. I'm a fire sign again. I hold grudges. I am visceral with my passion and my hate and my things like that. And yes, my room is so messy. But I did laundry. I'm doing some laundry later. I cleaned my kitchen. I did some dishes. So we're getting there. And I know I always talk about not being able to do certain things. But it's kind of like, I'm over it. I'm over being toxic to myself. I'm over forcing myself to live in an apartment or in an environment that's unhealthy towards myself. It's not good. It's unfair to myself to continue to pretend that things are okay, and to sit here and fess up to things that I've been feeling, and to fess up things that I've learned, but not actually be proactive about it. That to me is again self-sabotage, and then me lying to you, because I'm not going to sit here and preach X, Y, and Z, but do ABC, off camera. That doesn't make sense to me. So again, this is like the start of me dealing with things that I haven't dealt with, but also the start of me realizing that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to fall a couple steps back, because we can get back on the horse and keep going, keep moving forward. And so I hope that this video kind of helped you realize that you can do the same, and I hope you can be on this journey with me together to be the best person that we could possibly be, and to learn more tactics, I suppose, and to definitely get to the root of the issues, and learning to not self-sabotage, and to take the time to be kind to yourself, because so often we're punishing ourselves for things that our body is so used to, So thank you for watching. Thank you for being with here on my birthday, even though this won't come out on my birthday. Thank you for eating or drinking with me, or just putting this on wherever it is. I really do appreciate you. Thank you for all 199 currently subscribers, and maybe I'm at 200. I don't know. This is my only birthday wish was that I got 200. So maybe, fingers crossed, I will get them. But again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.